It's time to talk about my most anticipated movie of 2023. What's going on, guys? I'm Chris, and welcome back to another video. So today I got a special one, giving you my review of Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. As I said up front, this was my most anticipated movie of the year, and frankly, one of my most anticipated movies of all time. I love Indiana Jones. This character means more to me than pretty much any movie character I can ever think of. I grew up watching these movies. Seeing Crystal Skull in theaters was such a big deal for me as an 8-year-old at the time, and I've rewatched these movies countless times leading up to the Dial of Destiny. So I have a lot to say. But before I get into this, hit that like button, comment down below your expectations for this movie, your predictions if you've not yet seen it, and if you've seen the movie at the time of this review, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Yeah, let's just dive right in. I went into this movie, and I threw any expectations I had out the window. Just went in and watched it for what it was. And I can say this much, it captures the classic feel of the Indiana Jones franchise. It really hits the nail on the head there. You've got an incredible opening sequence. I'm talking the first 15-20 minutes, riveting stuff. And this is no surprise, but it's the entire de-age sequence. I've seen a lot of complaints about that technology. To me, it was really solid. I mean, de-aging technology is a constant work in progress. It's never going to be perfected, I don't think. This is better than a lot that I have seen in projects like in the MCU. So I really was not bothered by it. It felt like I was watching an Indiana Jones from the 1940s kick ass, and I was all for it. We got this really dope action sequence that took place on a train, and it felt classic to me. Like, that opening really felt like we were watching an Indiana Jones that was set not too long after The Last Crusade came out, and it really set up this movie to be successful. And then you roll into the first act, we see a more seasoned Indiana Jones sort of on his way out as a professor, and he's at a completely new place in life due to unforeseen circumstances. I won't say too much here, but he might not be in the best place. So when Helena Shaw, his goddaughter, comes into the picture, this adventure ensues, one last ride as it's being marketed, and I can't lie, as the movie progressed, I started to feel a little weird inside. I got this weird gut feeling. I was like, what are they doing here? This doesn't feel right. And then by the time the third act rolled around, I was pretty let down with this one. And it hurts me to say. It visibly makes me sick, actually, to come out here and admit. But I said this when I walked out of the theater. I haven't felt this level of inner conflict or divisiveness after a movie since I watched The Last Jedi. For reference, loved The Force Awakens, and then The Last Jedi came out, and I was so distraught after I went back the next morning and brought a notepad into the theater to take notes, and I wish I could do that right now. I have to wait like 2 weeks, but I will be sat to rewatch this movie with a notepad, taking note of every little critique or everything I love about the movie, and I'll have a massive in-depth spoiler review, probably like podcast style, honestly. But anyway, got a little off topic there. When it comes down to the Dial of Destiny, it hits on some major Indiana Jones beats. There's adventure vibes. It's got a blaring good score that you come to know and love with this franchise, and I just appreciate seeing Harrison Ford don the costume one last time, the hat and the whip. He owns this role, and in fact, he brought me to tears almost 2 or 3 times in this movie just from his performance. You can tell this character means so much to him as an actor, and it shines through. I'm thinking of one scene in particular where I was like, oh my gosh. And something I can appreciate as a longtime fan of this franchise is the callbacks. Obviously, you love a good callback in any franchise, but it wasn't beating us over the head with callbacks, but there's like little lines that I really appreciated, kind of calling back to previous films, and little nods that I was like, oh, I love that they included that in this movie. So there's those callbacks that hardcore fans will love, but at the same time, there's some emotional moments that really got the waterworks going. If you're a fan of this franchise, there's multiple moments that will pull on your heartstrings and just make you feel all fuzzy inside. So on the one hand, there's lots of indie moments to enjoy in this movie, but on the other, I personally felt like it missed the mark in a lot of the major and most important tropes of an Indiana Jones film. Most importantly, the grand set pieces, the action sequences, those were both really lacking here. There are action sequences, but they feel so mediocre compared to all of the other 4 films. I was just like, this is what we're going with? Like, we were 2/3 through the movie, and I was like, where's like the indie action, like the great chase scenes and everything? It just felt reduced. Almost like when you're playing a video game on the normal difficulty, just doing the walkthrough because you care more about the story. That's what it felt like here. And I understand Harrison Ford is a lot older, so he can't be doing these insane stunts, but it felt watered down in terms of the action compared to the other Indiana Jones films. And again, I'm talking about everything after the opening, because that opening, riveting action, really hooked me into the film. But any action sequence after was really mediocre or non-existent, dare I say. In fact, the overall adventure of this movie almost feels entirely unnecessary. Like in every other Indiana Jones film, he's got a real reason for getting involved. And in this, I kind of understand what they were trying to do with this goddaughter route, but it would have helped if this goddaughter was related to a character that we actually knew before this movie. I was just questioning a lot of writing decisions. You bring back characters like Sala, who doesn't have a really big role in this movie, and he's one of the most delightful, loved characters in the franchise. And then you've got the whole Marcus Brody attachment. They could have gone so many different routes to make this last adventure feel way more important and impactful for Indy himself, but that just wasn't the case, and it was frustrating. I really love a great sidekick dynamic, and they bring in Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who does a great job with her performance as Helena Shaw, but I can't help but feel like this character is unlikable for a lot of the movie. She makes a lot of decisions, and I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, everyone, including Mangold and everyone, was talking about how, oh, they were really missing that sidekick feel in Crystal Skull, so we wanted to go back to that in this movie. Shia as Mutt was a great companion to Indy, and this movie surprisingly lacked that. It also introduces some other side characters who have like a pointless role and just did nothing to really move the plot along or provide anything to Indy's arc. And I don't understand why all these other characters are introduced to try and be like worthy sidekicks when Sala is standing right there but just not doing much at all. But I digress. I still appreciate that we get to see Indy in sort of a parental role to Helena, giving her life advice and being that old man Indiana Jones. But I still appreciate a lot of ideas that were set up in Crystal Skull, and I would have liked to have seen them go somewhere with them instead of sort of sweeping them under the rug like they do in this movie. The first act to me was the best act of this film, and the second act just sort of meanders. We go to this really underwhelming set piece, and nothing really progresses that much. The third act is where the movie really falls off the rails for me, and I had to sleep on it to really like understand how I felt. But the third act of this movie, it lost me. It lost me. It could have lost me even more, to the point of me getting up and walking out of the theater. It didn't go that far. It pissed me off. It really did. I hate that I have to even sit here and do this, but it makes no sense within the context of the Indiana Jones franchise as to why the third act went the route that it did. Simpler is better. This franchise has proven that. I'm not trying to reveal too much here, but we really don't need to push it. And for whatever reason, the third act just abandoned, not logic, but damn near. I want to say it just didn't feel like an Indiana Jones movie. Now, I want the record to show that I enjoy Crystal Skull. I was 8 when the movie came out and I saw it in theaters. I've watched it many times as an adult. I watched it yesterday. I still enjoy it despite its flaws, because it has indie action and the sense of adventure, and this has that early on, but at the end of this movie, it really fell off the rails for me. I'll get into detail as to why, in serious detail, in my spoiler review that will come out, closer to the movie, but I was baffled that this movie went a certain route, and I can't look past it. It really, not disturbs me, but upsets me. I really want to know how the general audience responds to the ending of this movie, because since 2008, I've had to sit here and listen to people complain about aliens, and oh, the nuke scene in Crystal Skull, and Shia swinging with the monkeys. To me, that's still believable in a way. Like, aliens, believe in them or don't, the concept of aliens is not foreign to us. Shia swinging monkeys, it's cheesy. There's indefensible moments in that movie. Watch the third act of this movie and then talk to me. I'm still in disbelief. I also couldn't stop questioning so many writing decisions in this movie. The first act sets up like 3 really important plot details, and they just never go anywhere. Like, the credits rolled and I was like, wait, what happened to this storyline or this? So many loose ends as the credits rolled. I was like, did we just forget to wrap up the movie? I don't know what it is lately. The Flash had a rush ending, Fast X didn't even have an ending, and now Dial of Destiny has an extremely rushed ending. Did it leave me heartwarmed? Yes. But there was supposed to be 10 to 15 more minutes in this movie to give us clarity, to make it make sense. And it lacked that. I was baffled. I think the conclusion I've come to is that this movie really just lacked a lot of the Steven Spielberg charm. Whether you love or hate Crystal Skull, you can't deny there's moments that embody that is Indiana Jones. Of course, the original trilogy has it in all 3. It's one of the greatest film trilogies to me of all time. But when you look at this movie, it almost feels like this Disneyfication that we've seen before. We've seen it with Star Wars. The sequel trilogy did the same thing. MCU Phase 4 did the same thing. The issue is, feels like at times this is a cash grabby product. Even the damn look of the film has that Disney flair on it. And if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. I don't know how the third act of this movie was greenlit, but when it comes down to the other main core adventures than Indiana Jones films, I think they all are stronger, and they actually serve a greater purpose in Indy's personal arc. I was on board for the adventure for a lot of this movie, but then I was just so confused as to what it all meant. What was the purpose of this last adventure? Why bring Indy essentially out of retirement for one last adventure when by the time the credits roll it feels meaningless? Character arc-wise, I feel like Indiana Jones didn't really progress much from the end of Crystal Skull throughout this movie. It felt like this existed to try and like, oh, Indiana Jones is back, and don't get me wrong, I bought in. I love Indiana Jones. But this movie missed the mark on a lot of things. It captures some of that Indy magic, but at the same time, it's missing a big chunk of it because Spielberg's vision is not behind the camera. I love James Mangold, but something was just off. There is significant enjoyment to be had. I want to rewatch that opening right now. I loved it. I loved the score, and I just enjoy Harrison Ford as this character so much that I was invested in a lot of this story. But the main adventure felt almost low stakes and just unnecessary in Indy's personal life at this stage in his life in particular. Felt like he was just shoehorned into this thing, and there was a lack of sidekicks and lovable characters from earlier entries in the franchise. I have so many questions, and I have to watch this movie again. I've seen it one time. I need to watch this movie again to truly get it all out of my system, but I can't tell a lie. It let me down, and I feel just like I did after I watched The Last Jedi. That's the only comparison I have. I have not felt this way after a movie since The Last Jedi. That was in 2017. So in conclusion, I think it sucks when you love a movie or show so deeply, like a franchise, you're so deeply attached to it that you go and watch a new movie and you just have to analyze every little thing so much. That's where I'm at. I am a diehard Indiana Jones fan. I have so many questions from the way the character was written, from the overall plot of the movie, to the loose ends by the time the film ended, to the overall existence of the fifth film. Was it wholly unnecessary? It probably was, and that's upsetting to say. But there's still a fun adventure to be had in here somewhere. It's just really chopped up. You gotta pick moments you enjoy. Some are hits, some are misses. Overall, it's probably the weakest Indiana Jones film, but I still enjoyed my time. I'm just frustrated, and I need to go watch it again, and again and again. And maybe 10 years from now, I could even warm up to it more. But right now, this is my least favorite Indiana Jones film, and its existence feels unnecessary for the character and for the adventure he went on. It feels the least Indiana Jones of the five to me, though it does still capture some of that adventure feel. I can't help but be let down by this one. So guys, those are my thoughts on Indiana Jones: The Dial of Destiny. That was a tough one for me to get through. It hurt my heart, but I still would give the movie a low positive score. So on a scale of 1 to 5 out of 5 stars, anywhere from a 3 to a 3.25. There's great moments in this film, but it's a mixed bag overall. Could go down on rewatch, could go up on rewatch. 3 out of 5 feels appropriate right now, and I need to watch it again. It's either gonna piss me off more, or I'm gonna be a little nicer to it. That's all I got for you. There you have it. Those are my thoughts on Indiana Jones: The Dial of Destiny, and with this dial, I will rewrite the movie. No, I'm kidding. They did give us this cool little thing though when I went and saw the movie. It's a little like thing. It'll probably go to my Indiana Jones shrine, which I've been building out in my movie room. Check out my movie room tour linked up above. But that's a long review. That might be the longest you've ever done. I'm gonna take a sip of water. I hope you guys enjoy the movie. Let me know what you think if you've seen it down below, and your predictions if you have not. Still go see the movie. Support it. I think that Indiana Jones is an all-time great movie character, and if you love the movies, you should go see this one and form your own opinion. Just because I'm conflicted doesn't mean you have to be conflicted. Go watch it and make your own opinion. I implore you to do so. Yeah, that's all I got. Hit the like button. Subscribe to that notification bell. I will be doing a lot of Indiana Jones content. You're just gonna have to wait like 2 weeks because I'll wait until the weekend the movie comes out. So I'll have a spoiler review, a ranking of the movies, all that good stuff. It's coming, trust me. This weekend, Pixar and DC content. So stay tuned for all that. But I just want to say I appreciate you guys. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for your support. This movie was my most anticipated. This character means a lot to me. So this review got a little more personal. I wasn't my typical structure. I just wanted to kind of throw it all out, vent in a way. So there you have it. Hope you liked the video. Thank you all for watching, and until next time, I'll see you guys later.